Alright, turn 23, and the war is on. I'm not doing much, but the war is on between the frogs and the skeletons at this point. So we completed our Conjuration 5, went into construction, picked up Construction 2, which is all good. And then there were a couple of battles, none of which involved us. The first was in the Mountains of Madness. So here, Xibalba decided to close out this weakly defended fort of Eriu in order to give him a fort to operate from. I kind of understand this because it means that when he advances, he's technically got a friendly province to retreat to. And it suggests to me that this army is going to secure and go this way while being able to recruit additional forces. However, Ermor stormed the fortress that they cracked last turn. Here's the storming force. Classic Ermor early game. So, Soulless with their big hit point pool and no protection, but big hit point pool up the front to basically suck up. Are they arrows or sling stones? I think they're sling stones in the case of Xibalba. To suck those up and to eat the banishments with the intention that they all die before they get through. Looks like Xibalba was ready and put a whole bunch of water gems on some of their mages. Yeah, so they're summoning lesser water elementals in significant quantities. Coupled with the banishments, they're actually doing a decent amount of damage. And that persists, I believe, until these knights finally get into the breach. Unfortunately, one problem with when you're fighting Ermor is that you're not going to rout them. And yeah, here you see. So once these knights start getting into the breach, if I was Ermor, I might have charged the knights straight in order to try and make a breach as quickly as possible, because you can see the difference now that these guys with their triple attacks and their high stats and their high damage and their blood vengeance and their various immunities and their extra HP and their regeneration get to the front, it's over. Xibalba starts to retreat. This priest continues throwing level 1 banishments for as long as he can, but eventually it's all over but the crying. So 274 losses for Ermor is significant, actually. Except for in the sense that what they lost were not their super valuable troops, right? Like they lost 102 Soulless, which are the least valuable form of undead. So more than a third of their losses were these crap. Then the generic long deads, 64 of them. So relatively fewer of the legionaries, almost none of the Triarii, and most critically, none of the Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre. They did lose their Eden, which is sad for Ermor. Xibalba, meanwhile, lost the gems invested, 3 mages, including 1 Much-Kohul, 2 priests, a collection of troops, so 77 units in all, and a fort. I consider that a loss for Xibalba, but a much less of a loss than it could have been given the circumstances. Ermor then fanned out and took the provinces north and west of it. So quickly, this is becoming Ermor territory. Now, I've intimated to Ermor at this point, and I'm going to have to, that Xibalba's got more left than he thinks, and because Xibalba has more less than he thinks, maybe he needs help, and if he doesn't agree to the terms of my help, then it might be that I join the war and fight him in support of Xibalba. So what I'm hoping here is that I can strong-arm Ermor into a position where he knows that I'm not afraid, that I'm happy to fight, that I'm in a position to fight, and as a result, he'll give me my concessions. Do I actually want to enter the war on Xibalba's side? No, I don't. I will if I have to. I'm always willing to fight Ermor. I'd prefer not to. So we'll see what the relative diplomacy is here. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to move my forces and start dispersing them. You'll notice concentrations building up here, here, here. I'm bringing some troops back down this way to just get as good of a contour along Xibalba's land as possible, so that if Ermor continues to win and I make the call that, I can't save Xibalba, because right now my ruling is like, what would I actually do if I intervened, right? Like, I might clear this province, but even then I need to march through Xibalba's clay in order to effectively fight Ermor while leaving this little coastal enclave here exposed. I have no reserve at my capital, not really. So it's just not a good time to be alive. Meanwhile, Shinuyama is continuing to besiege Vanarus, and Nabar has the other Vanarushian fort under control. I'm convinced these are now Vanarus's last 2 provinces, and that we're soon going to see an elimination from the game. Nabar is raiding extremely effectively down here. I am going to try and pull the money together for a fort here, but this turn I'm just going to need to do recruitment again. But eventually we'll get a fort built there. Anyway, that's turn 23. We'll jump forward to turn 24 and you'll see how this war continues to evolve. But because right now the most interesting thing in the game doesn't include me. Alright, it's turn 24, and that means, and because we got Conj 5 last turn, that means it's Voice of Tiamat time. Every Water Nation's favourite point in the game, where they start to spam their Voice of Tiamat site search on all of their available water provinces. So let's see what we got. 2 fire, go to target a province. So the odds of getting a duplicate on Magic site must be incredibly low. Okay, so 8 water for 2 fire, 16 water for 2 fire, another fire. 24 water, 3 fire. Wait. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, so 1 smoldering starfish colony, 2 smoldering starfish colony, 3, 4. Are any of these others? No, this is for some other shit. Okay, but my first 4 sites were all the same site. So 4 fire gems from 4 searches. Now, would you spend 8 water gems for a permanent income of 1 fire? Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good deal. Break even after 8 turns. Fire gems aren't great, but you can't get them otherwise. I think that's an okay deal. Search number 5. Okay, search number 5 got me 1 earth, 1 fire, 1 air, 2 earth. 2 earth, 1 fire, 1 air. I'm happy with that. That's very 8 gems invested for 4 gems found. Very good. And then 2 found here. 1 water, 1 earth. Okay, so suddenly our gem income is A, much more diverse, and B, looking much healthier. 5, 10, 15, 22, 29, 34. 34 gems on turn 24. Okay. Okay. We did spend a lot of water gems to get there, but I'm hoping we'll continue to luck and find water gems. This diversity is good. I like the fire gems because it means eventually we can make lightless lanterns. Air gems are always useful. They're like, you think you're not an air nation, but if you manage to break in any way, shape, or form, and we have a little bit of air access that we might be able to leverage, they can be very useful combat and forging gems. Water gems are usually not particularly valuable, but I have a lot of things with the nation I want to do with them, so I need them. Earth gems, classically valuable. Astral pearls, I'm going to build the biggest frickin' pile of astral pearls you've ever seen, and then I'm going to mind hunt everyone to death with them. It's going to be great. And nature gems, also generically useful because, as you'll see with my long-term research strategy, I like nature combat magic. And with the people on this field being people like Satis, I'm feeling like Serpent's Blessing at minimum is a requirement. But I also like Relief, I like Howl, I like Mass Regeneration if you ever go that way. So that was all very, very good. My manual site searching got nothing. Area appointed a new prophet. We stormed the province, as I said I probably would. We stormed the province with the crossbows in it. And I believe, yeah, there we are. With this, we are the good elves. God of Eriu has been permanently vanquished due to not holding a single province. So that's Eriu gone, and with Eriu gone, all this reverts to neutral dominion. So I'm going to have to build some... I've got my prophet here, which helps, but I'm going to have to get some temples up here quickly to avoid either Calum or Xibalban Dominion washing in, or even worse, if Ermor takes this and temples it, Ermorian Dominion washing in. Nabar fought Vanarus. So where was this? Was this their siege? Yes, it was at their siege. So we get to see what Nabar is bringing to the table. So Nabar went in with their 8-eyed elites. Behind them were a collection of the camel riders. I think they're there for these. So you get a falcon. For every camel rider, you get a falcon at the start. They only have 2 hit points and they do like very little damage, but they have 16 defense, 2 attacks, 12 attack. So they're hard to hit, and they fly and jump and attack people, and they can really throw off mages or groups if they momentarily distract them, so I think they're useful. And at the back here, you've got, again, the fire. You've got a couple of Jan guards protecting the Malika. Anyway, he's quite cynically sent in the mercenary militia troops first, I imagine, because they're going to leave him next turn, so... He commits them, and then the Jan guards and the 8-eyed elites go in to fight a mixture of vine men. Like, this is just crap Vanarus has been able to summon. Unfortunately, he's only got lightning bolt and lesser fire elementals at this point. If he'd had lightning bolt, that would have helped a bit more, or if he'd been able to put out more of these elementals. Unfortunately, he can't, and in this cold weather, he gets ice elementals, not water elementals, water elementals would have been better against these sort of units because they just do more damage. Anyway, so that battle's over. What was lost? So the militia died, but only 4 actual troops died. The rest were all mercenary militia sent to their deaths. Vanarus lost, well, they lost everything that was in this fort, so now all that's left is what is in the Vanarushian capital. Mountain of Madness. Ermor attacked Xibalba and won, and we cleared an independent province. So let's look at that one first. Okay, so that's over here. So here we've managed to collect a force again, and we're going to start re-expanding here. I want to try and get on the eastern flank of this spur of Xibalban land. That means killing this sea troll and kraken. And this force here, a couple of mine blasters and a decent number of meteorite guard. I think it's, what, 22 meteorite guards? Probably enough to break through the sea trolls because my guys just do so much damage. So that's handy. Mountains of Madness. So Ermor then put the Xibalban force that had been here under siege. And it looks like Xibalba didn't throw PD on this province, but they did patrol, which surprises me because that's not saying PD. I'll check again if this is PD. But it looks like Ermor comes on in skirmish formation. The skirmish formation is there to break up the effect of banishments. The initial undead die horribly, but the legionaries, a few lictors, and most importantly, the morale of the Xibalbans breaks before the Ermorians do. Also, the lictors are freaking horrifying. 29 damage, 17 attack skill. These ones aren't even blessed. They're just really killy. Anyway, so that province, let's just check. Yeah, no, it's not PD. It's actual units. So 58 frogs dead, 89 undead dead again. But no losses among the lictors, no losses among the long dead legionaries he actually cares about, which are the Triarii. Ordinary long dead losses matter, soulless losses matter, but that's not enough left to crack this fort immediately. But what he's done is essentially he's neutralized an army and he's locked that fort down. He's also operating down here, it looks like. We'll need to get more scouts down there. Remember, this is Xibalba's capital right here. So I need to be considering where are Xibalba's armies? And the answers are here and here near me. So I need to be cautious in when I decide to act. But I need to think about when I'm going to move in because I don't want Ermor to make it into the water. I need to at minimum secure the water and preferably get an enclave hold on land so I can stand up to Ermor. I want enough of a holding that I can resist, but not so much of a holding that he'd get a huge reward out of fighting me in a war, noting that I already have this spur of land up here for him to be attracted by. Unexpected events, we gained a little bit of dominion, which we need, a few fire gems, 9 earth gems, that's better. And we summoned 3 othernesses. Othernesses are a bit, they're size 4, but they're big sacks of regenerating HP. If you can give them protection buffs, they're better. Our bless is not particularly relevant to them, but hey, giant sack of HP. Resistant to shock, resistant to fire, resistant to cold, resistant to poison. And they don't eat anything. They're just masses of goo. So that's cool. I'll definitely put those to use. We're going up alt now. We're going up alt probably all the way to 6, I think. And this is a gamble that our next enemy will not be Ermor, but I might change this depending on how we go. Alt's just got some good general use things. We can swarm, for example. Body Ethereal is useful. Whole bunch of stuff here is useful. Mother Oak is useful. Wooden Warriors is useful. Invulnerability is useful if you have a big death unit, which we don't have, but we will eventually. Solar Eclipse is a weaker version of Darkness, but you can cast it with a fire gem and at a lower research level. And then, of course, eventually you do get Darkness. You get Darkness, you get Transformation, which could be useful for going Naiads. There's good stuff here. So I like alt, and I may even go further with alt, but we'll see. I'm not sure if I'll go straight to 6, but I'll certainly pick up the first couple of levels of it while I consider my plan. I also have to decide when I want to go construction. That's a critical decision that you have to face in most games. When do you want to go construction for the construction 6? Because construction 6 is what unlocks your ability to thug properly, and if you're a Fire Nation, it unlocks the research boosters. Anyway, that's turn 24. I'll be back in turn 24. Alright, turn 25, and we went in. We cut a deal, and we're in. So, two things happened. We received water gems from Ermor. This was my price of peace, essentially. 21 water gems, and he allows me to take some clay, and in exchange, instead of helping Xibalba, I will help him. It was a tense negotiation, but I'm going to use this for more Voice of Tiamat. I did decide to swap from alteration to construction. I'm going at least to construction level 4, and possibly to construction level 6, because I'm not under immediate pressing threat now that I'm taking the easy way out, and because I'm taking the easy way out, I can macro, and macroing in this game means, well, there's not a huge amount of macro you can do in Dominions, but construction is one of them. Anyway, cast Dark Knowledge, found nothing. That was on a province with death scale, so I'm disappointed there was nothing there. It must just have been a bad event. And then Tiamat, 8 gems for 1 earth, that's okay. Nothing, that's a big fat flub. And then we found... So again, we averaged, for every 8 gems we invested, we found 1 gem. It's a good investment considering you save mage turns and you can search in paths that you wouldn't otherwise have. Then there were a number of battles. The first one is over here, Marignon counter raiding. Just shows that Marignon is sort of alive, but they're really compressed and pushed in, as you can see. Then Ermor fought them in the Fairy Forest, which is what here. So this is Ermor's line of advance now. Is at the gates of the Xibalban capital. And then we went in. So we took Lake Vastness. We took Goodwater. We actually lost in Utterdeep. That's interesting. We'll look at that in a moment because that's an interesting fight. I've forgotten about that one. That was an important battle. Chibia we won. Omer we won. Blue Waters we beat the Independents. Then we had some bad events. Okay, so my intention was to advance all along the line. There was a giant Xibalban army in his capital, and my understanding was it would probably, because the Ermorian armies were positioned here and were in danger of going onto his capital. Ermor instead, by the way, consolidated at 107 before moving on the capital. Possibly a good decision. Anyway, instead of staying and fighting, which is what I expected for his capital, I thought last stand, capital, obvious. The main Xibalban army moved into Utterdeep, and that sort of stuffed me up. So most of these fights were okay. This was PD, and our raiding army was enough. This was PD, our raiding army was enough. Especially since this is where our original combat armies were in the first place. So seizing these provinces should go on time, especially now that we've got this force coming in from this way, which can go through here, link up, and we'll clear. Hopefully all of this will belong to us eventually. I would like to claim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provinces from Xibalba in that sort of interim area, and I'd also like to get in here, but Calum is being a bit antsy about this, so this will probably be what happens instead. Took this province with, this was Slave Mage base, so we went in, I think we threw water elementals at him, didn't we? Yeah, because Conj 5 means full-size water elementals, woo! And just a reminder for everyone who's forgotten, underwater, a water elemental has 20% regeneration, is slash, blunt, and pierce resistant, has 14 defense, 14 attack, and has 4 20 damage crush attacks while regenerating 6 HP per turn. It is unsurroundable, and if you're in Dark Ocean, it's even better because it has Spirit Sight, so it won't get the negatives that these units would if they were in Deep Ocean. Anyway, it's hard to damage, it's hard to hit, it's hard to damage, and as you can see, when it encounters units, it just noms them. In this case, they actually went around, and what ended up happening was these poor mermen ended up fighting my slave guardians who were being buffed by these guys instead and got murdered. So, hooray. I didn't actually need the water elementals in that case. That I could have sent them to be more conservative in their gem usage and be fine. Or maybe the AI just didn't understand. Let's check. No, they were on conservative. But they'll still cast their script anyway unless the enemy force is really weak, so maybe they just underestimated my meteorite guards. Raiding on land, fine. So we're now on land and can clean up this one. I've told Ermor hands off 109, me want. Ideally, I'd also want 122 to make this contiguous, but I don't think we'll be able to push him on that. He knows he's in a really good position and he wants to make it so. So I think his decision to make a deal with me really is predicated on the fact that he knows he's getting a really good start and he wants to make the most of it, even though he's missing out on some of the potential of eating all of Xibalba. he's gaining a lot of ease in doing it, especially since this battle happened. So we didn't have a huge force here. It was mostly troop-based. We had one slave mage, who I think is a water elemental summoner, and that's it. But so my troops, even this small number of troops, could probably kill all these frogs. But when you have a lot of smaller mages, who I will find somewhere, and of course, Frog Father the Bakab, the big frog daddy himself, a distant relative of us, him and all of his little guys, his ahas, throwing a lot of water elementals. Like a lot of water elementals. And Shark Attack for good measure, which is distracting my rear troops. Thankfully, I put bodyguards on, so that should be okay. This is a lot of water elementals. And it's a lot of sharks, it's a lot of random crap. And because of that, you'll see my troops will do well, and my big water elemental will do well, but it's just too many water elementals. And you'll see him start to trip me soon. Oh, so his troop line runs, and then my troop line starts to run. So what routes me? Okay, so that makes this even more painful. You just saw me win that battle, but I didn't win that battle. That's because we're now on a new patch, and as you know, every time Dominions updates, there's a chance for old battles that could have been decided by random chance to go the other way. If that battle had been fought now, on this patch, with this random seed generator or whatever is behind it, I would have won the battle. Instead, I lost. And I lost pretty badly. Mostly because my troops routed a lot earlier than they did in the version you saw. In the version you saw, his guys routed first. In this, mine routed first. And as a result, I lost 50 Meteorite Guard, which is a lot. Now, I took all his water gems, I killed 50 Mooch Warriors, and 10 Jungle Warriors, but that doesn't matter. What matters is I lost 50 not irreplaceable, but slow to replace Meteorite Guard. And that blows this front wide open. Now, yes, he's now limited in what he can do, because he still has an Ermorian threat to his capital. He still has to decide, is he going to go back and fight? I have fortresses that I can fall back on, which is fine, but that was painful. If you look at that, you'll see I actually went down in army size, where I've been climbing pretty consistently up to this point. So that's frustrating. But other than that, you can see there's a general benefit as we begin to take land again. We'll need to patrol the land down to make it valuable in all cases, and these provinces are okay. They also haven't been searched, or there's nothing there, which is unfortunate. I'm going to click forward one more turn, because I think that'll be interesting to show how this played out. But yeah, at this point we've committed to the whole clean up Xibalba, pacify Ermor, and hopefully make Ermor someone else's problem. But there's always the chance that he'll turn on me. My plan is just not to make it worth it to him. Anyway, that's that. I'll see you in turn 26. Alright, here we are, turn 26. Construction 4 is complete. Going up an Evo level. Might talk about why later, but for the moment, I now at least have access to Construction 4 items. Still no love on the Dark Knowledge. I have very few Death Gems. And the Voice of Tiamat, again, 2 searches, 2 sites. This time both Earth. Earth is now our single biggest category. So we'll need to think of something to do with that, despite the fact we have limited Earth access. And no manual site searching successes. Marignon sent in a small raiding force to attack Nabar, but Nabar had a whole bunch of their sacreds in play, which of course guaranteed this to be a failure. Now you'll see the Bless includes Ethereal, Death Explosion 6, Blood Surge 3. This is a beefy Bless, but Jan Guards are numerous, have good stats, and hit hard. So when they do hit the Knights, they'll kill them. You can see the Death Explosions going off. But those Knights are making a really good account of themselves. It's just they're proving hard to hit these glamoured Jans that are now surrounding them. So that was unfortunate for Marignon. We took Blightlands. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And Esquania. So we took that. That's still under siege. We took this province. We've identified an Ashfadel province. Ashfadel is almost dead at the hands of Satis, by the way. What I'm going to do this turn is I think I'm going to take this province because I'm worried that Calum will take this very small force of Atlantean militia and kill this single enemy sage. I'm concerned that's going to happen, so I'm going to attack it. I'm convinced in retrospect that this was one of the great mistakes of the game. But I'm going to leave it as a cliffhanger. I'm going to leave it as a cliffhanger as to why. And I'm not going to put turn 27 in this episode. Anyway, people can probably figure it out, but I think attacking this province is one of the worst things I do. I'm not sure if I do it this turn or next turn. Let's hope I do it this turn, or I will have been needlessly dramatic. Random events. We were attacked by Tritons. This is all shit. This is all shit. And then we lost a province. Great. And it was a good province too, so we're going to need to send troops to reclaim it at some point. We also need to consider sniping this throne, but I think that would be a de facto declaration of war on Satis, which I don't want. Satis, by the way, has been fighting their war with Asphodel and has been clearly victorious so far. So we took here. We've secured this area and we've gone here. Xibalba looks like moved their army back into their capital and then didn't move and patrol. They looks like they deliberately accepted the siege, so the Xibalban army is in there. And some of the Xibalban army has fled east. Why? I don't know. Possibly to raid this sort of land, possibly to make life hard for me in their surviving areas. It's hard to tell. News from elsewhere. Calum has expanded really well. The Birdie Boys are solid. Nabar continues to raid and terrify Marignon, which is small. And Shineyama hasn't assaulted the Vanarus yet. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. They're bringing in more Bakemonosho and Dai Bakemono. I'm sure there's stealth Bakemonosho in there as well. And there's even more troops here. So I don't know how many troops he thinks he needs in order to assault this capital. But I would bet this is happening soon. And as soon as he does, Vanarus is out of the game. Anyway, quick status check. Research, close to 500 points a turn. Gems coming along nicely. Stockpile, big, and there are a lot of players that say that gem stockpile is unacceptable, but hey, I'm stockpiling for a reason, or rather there are reasons behind each of these stockpiling decisions. But dear God, I wish I had more death gems. I've only gotten death from luck events, and when I've dark knowledge to search, I found nothing. So I need to send out even more site searches to make this worthwhile. I am currently planning to seize all the remaining water provinces. And then I'm going to try and crack a deal over the Xibalban capital. And my argument to Ermor is going to basically be, if you take it, it'll be dead before long. Your Dom will kill it real quickly. If your Dom kills it, it'll almost certainly kill the provinces around it too, which I can't tolerate. I will allow you to take this throne, which will have a really strong Dom influence, but I need this capital. And I think that what he's going to demand stuff in exchange. He won't just hand this capital over. He's clearly in a dominant position on land, and I don't think he knows that I lost my main army in this area underwater, but if he does know, then that'll play into his decision making as well. The crux is, I want this capital, and I'm going to do something with Ermor in order to get him to hand it over. As much of this land as I can get him to hand over is worth it to me. I accept that I may have to trade or sell him stuff in order to do it. I'll try and keep that to a minimum. But the things you need to remember when you're dealing with the player who's currently playing Ermor is that he'll stab you, betray you, whatever. But he'll abide by his naps and he loves a good deal. Runs a hard one, but loves a good deal. Whereas some players are not traders, and I know because this is the player who played Ulm in my Nazca game. He loves a good trade. Although he may not trust me again after that game, because that game ended with his trade enabling me to sneak out a win. And while he had a pretty noble second, he may not fall for it again. Anyway, I'm going to negotiate over Xibalba's capital and preferably some land down here, but he's probably going to stonewall me on that, while continuing to be focus on seizing these provinces. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to move my army up, jump that into the water, assault soon, either this turn or next turn, and send this force to retake this one on its way up north, so that more and more troops can concentrate to deal with this rogue army here. And then when I'm ready, occupy Utter and clean up all of this land around here. And then we have to temple it. We've got to temple it real quick because Ermor Dominion is already washing in. Yeah, so I'm going to assume that's Ermorian Dominion because of the death scales. So these provinces are already in danger of losing their population and becoming useless. I don't want useless land, especially if I've attacked a living nation and indirectly helped Ermor. I don't want like dead water as a result. So, and I don't want Ermor in the water, which I know he'll want. He'll be pushing to get these provinces. So I need to get there first in order to strengthen my negotiating position. The worst case scenario for me would be he peels off some troops from his capital this turn and stands on this fort. That would be the worst case. So let's hope he doesn't do that. Anyway, it's turn 26. The economy's in good shape. We're expanding still, but we have tense ongoing negotiations with our co-belligerent, and we're going to try and secure as much of Xibalba as possible so we're in a strong position to compete with the other big guys who are at this point. Nabat is huge because they stretch all around here, Satis is really, really large, and Kalem's a moderate power. Ermor is obviously also... Ermor and Kalem are probably significant powers. Satis is the largest. Or it's either Satis or Nabat. Not sure, I need to work on my intelligence there. But anyway, good talking to you, and I'll see you next turn.